Yo, it's your boy Jerry the Great. Welcome back to the Hope This Helps podcast, man. Listen, I appreciate everybody who tuned in to the first episode, who pulled something from that, who said that it was beneficial in some way, some form to them. I think that's what this podcast is, man. I think that this is just really just a conversation with us. You know, me telling my life experiences, y'all telling y'all life experiences, we learning from each other and hoping that in some way, some form, it helps one another. You know, I don't think that we will ever get to a point where we figure life out. Like the day you figure life out is the day that you no longer live. Like it's like that's it. I got it. I'm gone. And I don't think that we'll ever 100% figure it out, 100% know how to maneuver through. But I think that we can get to a point of understanding where, you know, I can take from this person's journey and how their journey is, you know, almost synonymous to my journey, and we can move in unison and work together. So I appreciate y'all for watching and rocking with me. Do me a favor, if you're watching this right now or listening to this right now, make sure that you click that subscribe button on YouTube or click that follow button on the podcast or Spotify, so that way you don't miss a brand new episode whenever it drops and whenever they drop, you know. So man, I had a topic that I wanted to talk to y'all about, and I was just driving in my car, and you know, I be having these epiphanies sometimes, right? I'll be like, you know, Jerry, you don't realize how blessed you are. Like you don't realize the trials and tribulations that you went through in life to set you up for where you are now. I realized that sometimes you gotta get set up. Like you've been set up to be blessed, and I realize that now. But even when you're in the midst of the setup, it's uncomfortable and you don't have the answers. Like you've been set up before by a friend. Like, hey dog, I'm gonna set you up with so and so. You get to the date, you like, oh, she ain't how you explain she's gonna be, bruh. She don't look like her profile picture. Like you've been set up like that. You've been, and if you went to a school like mine, you've been set up to be put in a fight. They said this, they said that. Oh, we gonna meet now. Now we got, like, you've been in a setup before. But have you ever been placed in a setup where it's God setting you up? Like God set me up like this. No script could be written as good as this setup was. Like, and I didn't understand it in the midst of the setup. So one of my favorite quotes, and it's by a comedian, Martin Lawrence, and this is one of my favorite quotes. I've been saying this quote since I was probably in elementary school and didn't have no clue what it meant. But now being, you know, a little bit older, a little bit wiser, I kind of grasp this quote just a little bit better. And that quote is, no one is immune to the trials and tribulations of life. No one is immune through the trials and tribulations of life. You are not going to go through life unscathed, unscrapped, unbothered, right? So I go back to when I graduated high school. That was 2012. I think up until that point, the biggest life hurdle that I had to deal with was in 2008 when my father passed away. And you couldn't tell me that nothing was going to be bigger or more, you know, life changing or life altering and life shaking than losing a parent at the age of 14. Like nothing was going to be bigger than that. Like if I was able to get to the other side of that, I damn it, I'm resilient. Lord, I can do this. I got this. I was wrong as hell. So like most people in high school, you graduate and you got these big plans for yourself. And I had some of the biggest. I was going to go to either USF, UCF, FAMU, or JU right out of college. And I listened to one of my older brothers. You know, he said, listen, you're already dual enrolled. You're in college now. Why not save yourself some money? You know, stack up, stay home for 2 years, finish, get your AA at this community college that you're at, and then go. You're not going to college to play a sport. You're not going to college, you know, on a full scholarship. You know, you're going to have to get some loans, so you might as well save some money and stay home. Now, in that moment when he told me that, I was definitely not with that. Like I was like, that dog, I'm trying to go out here with a hose. I'm trying to be out here balling on him, you know. Like I don't want to stay home, But against wise counsel, I did that, right? So I graduated June 2012. I started working as, one of the things, and this would be another topic for another day, but I'm an advocate. Like, if you are going to go to college and you're a freshman and you are mentally prepared for it and ready for it, I advocate going and living on college, like living on campus, getting out of your hometown. I'm an advocate for getting out of your city, going somewhere else, getting some different life experiences, and then coming back. I'm an advocate for that. I stayed in my city, and what you realize is that you fall into a pattern of complacency, right? So in my city, I fell into a pattern of complacency. And not the whole time not knowing that this is the setup. Like the setup is setting up right in front of my eyes, and I can't even see it. So I started working locally, like at a restaurant as a waiter, and I was, I do a lot of jokes about CNAs, but that's just because I worked with a lot of great CNAs because I was a resident assistant at an assisted living home, and that was like maybe August of 2012. I'm in school. I'm not doing great in school. Like I'm not taking this community college serious because it's the 13th grade. All of this is the setup. I'm not taking this community college serious because this is just the 13th grade. Like, I'm still here with locals. I'm watching some of my friends who done went off and who, they at USF and UCF and they left the state at Georgia, and they doing everything I dreamt of doing. But I listened to my brother and I said, damn it, I should have took my ass to college. So what happened? In September of 2012, right? I'm young, and literally I'm 18, and it is September 20th, 11:50 p.m. I'm 18 years old. When that clock struck 12 o'clock a.m., I turned 19. When that clock struck 12 o'clock a.m., I was surrounded by 40 police officers. Not just me and some other people were surrounded by 40 police officers. In just a blink of an eye, literally is what it felt like, but it was more so like 16 hours. Within a blink of an eye, you talking about a kid who had never gotten a referral in high school, never had any behavior problems. I was a model student. I don't even like trouble. I don't even hang with troublemakers. That kid is now facing 3 felonies on his record. Like, what the fuck? What the hell? What is going on? But this is all the setup, right? So I'm look at all that. Like, I postponed going off to college, staying in my hometown, working as a local, which is nothing wrong with that. But I had big dreams and aspirations for my life. Working, found myself facing 3 felony charges, all within a span of like 5 months. What the hell? So, and I laugh now, but it was very tough. And I will say throughout this whole ordeal, no one is immune to the trials and tribulations of life. Like I said, I was a model student. You know what I mean? I never got in trouble in high school for behavior. Now, I was late like a motherfucker, but I've never been in trouble for behavioral purposes. I've never got in trouble for behavior purposes. So you talking about the kid with the perfect record, no referrals, but got 3 felonies. How the hell does that work, right? Like, how does that work? So I'm fighting the legal system, fighting these 3 felonies, fighting these charges. And in the midst of doing all this, now we're talking about 3 felonies. We're talking about a legal system that doesn't necessarily move the fastest, especially when you waive your right to a speedy trial. So I'm working still. I still got my job as a resident assistant making $10 an hour. I'm working my ass off. When I say I'm working my ass off, I'm working 108 hours to bring home $1,000. Like, that's like you working that much. Now, granted, my grades are slipping. I'm still in school, still in community college, but now I got a 1.7 GPA. You know what I mean? So now I'm on the cusp of being kicked out of school for financial aid reasons, because I don't have the GPA to stay in school, even though it's community college. And I'm battling a legal situation. So we fast forward a little bit, right? Someone at the job must have did some research, Google, sold the comp. I don't know what the hell happened. They decided that they're going to re-background check every employee there. Nigga. I'm fucked. so before they could re-background check me, I actually ended up getting fired from that job. I got fired from that job. That's probably one of the only times I've ever got fired. I think, knock on wood. One of the only times I ever gotten fired from a job, right? So now I'm unemployed. I don't have any money coming in. I'm damn near flunking out of school. Because my grades are so bad. Lord have mercy. And I'm sitting at home. I'm watching everybody else who is doing everything that I aspired to do, right? Like I had dreams, like I said, of going off to college and doing all these great things. But now I'm sitting at home complacent. I'm not immune to the trials and tribulations of life. So it's crazy because you don't realize that you're in the midst of the setup. And I know oftentimes they say you're not supposed to question God. And I didn't. I was just looking for another word for question. Like I was inquisitive. I mean, I had a couple of, hey Lord, if you let me, can I just, I don't want to ask you, like, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but I just want to let you know, like, this me. Come on now, you know me. The lowest point I had got to, right? I did not know that you could not get hired if your background says pending. You haven't been convicted of anything. You haven't been found guilty of anything. Your background just says pending. I had a job interview at Hertz. It's a car rental place. It's equivalent to like Enterprise. I had a job interview at Hertz and I got the job. It was a great job. It was, a detailed car washer, which I was fine with. And you would be driving luxury cars to and from. So I pick up a car in Daytona and drive it to Orlando, and then pick up a Lamborghini in Orlando and drive it to Tampa, and then pick up a Maybach in Tampa and drive that back to Daytona. So that it was going to be the shit of a job. I couldn't get the job. The manager called me and was like, hey, we offered you the job, but we can't give it to you because your background check says pending and HR says no. When I say that was probably the lowest point of my life I had ever been in, right? It was the lowest point. And that's when I had to have a conversation with God. I was in my room at my mama's house, and I said, Lord, I don't know. This is how I talk to God. I talk to God like I'm talking to y'all. I was like, hey man, I don't know what the hell going on. Like, it's your boy. It's Jerry the Great. Like, what is we doing? Like, what's going on? I'm in my word. I'm trying to be this. I'm trying to be that. Like, I'm being faithful to you and doing what you saying I should do. I'm listening to good counsel. What is going on? But what I did not realize in that moment, peep this. What I did not realize in that moment was God was setting me up to be greater than, right? He was setting me up to be greater than I ever could have imagined myself to be. He was setting me up to be greater than what I thought I was going to be. So in that moment, I had a epiphany, and it was like, you know what, Lord, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you're doing it, but I'm going to let you work. I'm going to try to, I know you set me up to be greater than. I'm gonna try to make it through this storm. We gonna see what's going on. In that time, that's when I picked up the camera, right? I picked up the camera and I started, I was like, well, let me shoot. I ain't got no money. The only source of income I had was my mama giving me $40 every 2 weeks. That's all I had of income. I couldn't work nowhere. So I was like, Lord, let me figure out, let's find something. So I delved deeper into my creativity. That's when I was like, okay, let me just jump into this comedy bag a little bit heavier. I come to D-Land and do a 30-minute comedy show and make $25 and a 10-piece order of wings. I got $25 and I got some food. Like, I'll take your pictures. I'll take some pictures for you. I'll do some photography. And then I also was like, you know what? I'm here. Let me start writing. Let me start using the right side of my brain. Let me start, being creative. And that exposed my creativeness. That exposed me to something that I didn't even know. I knew I had it, but I had given it up because I had a plan for myself to go and be this lawyer, go and then become a judge. I had that plan for myself, but I never had a plan of being a podcaster. Never had the plan of being, a screenwriter. Never had a plan of being a director. Never had a plan of being a business owner. That was never my plan. My plan was to be a great lawyer, a great debater. But God was setting me up in those moments to be where I am today, to be a great podcaster, to be a business owner, to be a creative, to be a director, to be a screenwriter. But in that moment back then, when that was happening to me, I wasn't seeing that. I couldn't see beyond that next week where I did not have a job. I couldn't see beyond my social media where my friends were out living the bestest of their lives, the bestest, not the best, the bestest of their lives. I couldn't see beyond that social media post because I was so enclosed in these four walls where, dog, I can't work right now. Not because I don't want to, but because the judicial system says I cannot. Dog, I ain't got no money right now. My grades are horrible right now. What of these things can I fix and what of these things can I alter? So that's where, for me, it turned into grind mode. It turned into, all right, well, if I can't make money legally, like, through Sally Mae, I'm gonna make money through photography. I'm gonna charge people $50 for some pictures, not knowing that years later it will set me up for a photography company called GRL Productions. I was like, see how the God set you up to set you up. I can't work right now, but I got a whole lot of free time. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bang out these scripts called Us and Them. I'm gonna create this series and film it in my mama house, and I'm just gonna get some of my friends who just want to come, and we all bored. We ain't doing nothing. Let's create this show. Not knowing that years later it'll put me in position to be on a Zoom conversation with one of my heroes, whose name is Lil Rel, who's a stand-up comedian, actor, activist, having conversations with him about a show that I've written and produced that started. A show that I wrote and produced called Life, but Life is nothing but a continuation of Us and Them, just growner. I didn't know that God was setting me up for that. So oftentimes the setup is a setup. The setup is a step up. It's the setup is to make you greater, but we don't see that when we're in the moment. We don't see that when we're sitting there, and we don't see that when we're going through those trials and tribulations of life. And no, this ain't gonna be the only setup. This ain't gonna be the only setup. I know last episode I talked about quitting. I talked about it's okay to quit. In this particular situation, it was not okay to quit because this was just trials and tribulations that I needed to get over. So some of us right now are dealing with some of life's trials and tribulations. We're not immune to them. You're never going to be immune to life's trials and tribulations. It's just a matter of understanding that this is a setup. And what can you do in this moment now to set you up for the future? Sometimes the setup is merely just a setup for a step up. Sometimes God is trying to put you in a position to let you know, like, I can hold you here to grow you there. You gotta become greater here. You got to understand what I'm doing here in this moment for you to really reap the benefits of what I'm going to do for you over there. In that moment, like I said, my grades were trash. In that moment, I had time to study more. I sat down and I studied. I was not going to get into nobody college with a 1.7 GPA. I was on academic probation. They told me if you make anything less than a B minus, we're going to strip all your financial aid from you. And guess what? They did. I had a great fall semester, a great spring semester. I'm talking AB honor roll. And I went into a summer math class that I thought, this is a math class. I'll knock this out. I'll kill this class. This ain't going to be nothing. I got a C+ in that class. I thought, like, well, got a C+, but my GPA shot up so well. I'm well beyond the line of academic probation. Like, I'm good. And that academic advisor told me, like, no, sir. Every semester you had to maintain a 3.0. The C+ in the summer semester is not a 3.0. So we are stripping all of your financial aid from you. So that's financial aid gone. That's me with no job. That's me with no money, but I'm creative as fuck. So what did I do? I said, you know what? I got accepted into Jacksonville University in 2012. Let me, it's 2014. This has been 2 years at them past. Let me call the admissions office there and see if they gonna let a nigga in. Hey, this is Jerry. I got admitted. I know that it's August the 1st. I know classes start August the 20th. I got 19 days from now in a good night rest to try to get into y'all school. What can we do? And when that person on that line gave me the green light, I realized in that moment that was God setting me up to be greater than. I had to go through not giving a damn about grades and struggling to go to college and be a hustler in college, not only just in college, but in the classroom. I had to understand. I had to be at the lowest of low. I had to be able to appreciate school. Appreciate money, appreciate creativity, appreciate time. You got to be able to appreciate this stuff, because when you're going through the midst of your setup, when you're going through the midst of your trials and your tribulations, don't look at it as whoa, it was me. Take some time, just step back and say, okay, what in this moment can I appreciate in the future? Like, what is happening right now that I can take from and I can learn from? So that's literally all I wanted to talk to y'all about, man. Because I know I can just feel some people right now are in the midst of their setup. Like, ain't nothing going right for you. When I say nothing, you can't move left, right, up or down. Ain't nothing going right for you. But don't look at it as a negative, man. You are in the middle of your setup. God is setting you up to be greater than in the future, greater than you ever imagined, greater than the plan that you have for your life, greater than what you expected for your life, a greater parent, a greater father. If you're a parent and your kid's giving you hell, he's setting you up to be a greater parent in the future. Maybe it's communication with your kids. If you're a spouse or a girlfriend and you're going through hell with your significant other, he's setting you up to be a greater partner in the future. If you are an athlete in school and they talking about they finna take your damn scholarship, he's setting you up to be a greater player at somewhere else or someplace else in the future. So don't look at the setup as being a negative. The setup is a setup for you to be greater than. It's your boy Jerry the Great. Listen, y'all make sure that y'all hit that subscribe button. If you learned anything from this, if you took anything from this, or if you earned anything from this, make sure that you comment below in the description box. It's your boy Jerry the Great. I hope this helps.